American versus European suburbs and why the US ones suck.
We are from the US suburbs. We're kind of inching towards being outside of the suburbs, but we are from the
We
suburbs.
are. We're like, honestly, I think even statistically, the town that I live in is the last town of the suburbs because it's like, I don't know, it's something like a town with less than 2,000 people or something, and that's the next town after mine. So it's really the end, but we're going to have some experience with this.
Yeah, I mean, we're realistically like an hour away from the big city still, so it's
Yep.
pretty far,
It's pretty
but
far.
we'll see about the difference between the Europe suburbs.
Let's do it. Here we go.
American suburban street. It's wide, the houses are very far apart and look mostly the same. There is barely anything on the well-manicured lawns, post boxes, a few trees or bushes, and the occasional fire hydrant. Now compare this to
Okay.
a suburb in Leipzig, Germany. What differences do you notice?
Wow, a lot more dense, a lot more stuff going on.
Yeah.
Streets are narrower.
First off, there is stuff around you. The streetscape is
People,
very
places
diverse
to
and
walk.
mentally engaging. In comparison, the American suburb looks like a desolate urban wasteland. Also in the the American suburb looks like a desolate urban wasteland.
Urban wasteland? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
I don't know if that looks like an urban wasteland.
Just looks like
Yards?
houses and yards.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Also in the European suburb, the street is narrow, there is a 30 kilometers per hour speed limit, and the buildings are close together. Do notice the tram tracks. In this suburb,
Yeah,
you can live car-free. If you want to go to the center,
That's
you can
crazy.
either take the tram or ride your bike for 20 minutes on dedicated bike lanes.
The only way you could live car-free in a US suburb is if you had a bicycle and you'd be getting a part-time job so that you can buy a car. That's your one goal.
Yeah.
It's like impossible.
And your job better be within 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
from your house or you're going to be biking forever. If it's in the next town,
You're working at one of the 5 fast food places that are
yeah,
nearby your
the
place.
grocery store or something.
Look at the difference there.
Or take the S-Bahn because there's also a train station. In the American suburb, you have no option but to drive. Head out onto the busiest road, a horrifying mix of street and road, onto the jammed highway.
go,
and
that's the
after an
McDonald's
hour,
that
you'll be
person
in the
was working
center,
at.
Yeah.
searching
I mean,
for
this literally kind of looks like where we're from.
That's actually pretty insane. The places he was showing in Europe, they look like this so nice. And then drive down the street, car dealership, fast food. Like,
All of them have it.
what?
That's what they all have. Even the smallest towns will have at least 3 fast food restaurants.
And possibly 2 dealerships too.
yeah.
How about going to a restaurant? In the European suburb, there are dozens of different, unique, local restaurants reachable on foot, by bike, or public transit. In the American suburb, you're an hour walk away from a chain restaurant next to a busiest road. If you want to eat, you gotta get in your car.
It's about 30-minute walk for me. If you want to walk to
What if you have
McDonald's or
children?
Dairy Queen.
And that's literally the only
That's
option
it. That's
there.
it. Subway.
Yeah.
In this European suburb, there are 3 schools close by. Kids can walk or bike there on their own and learn to be independent early on. In the American suburb, a child could get to school after 35 minutes of walking, mostly along a busy arterial road, also having to cross a 6-lane road. And somehow, there's no crosswalk, so kids have to be driven to school every day by mommy and daddy.
There's like one neighborhood that's right across from the school, my like high school that I went to, and some people would like bike there or something, and then one of them got hit by a car
Oh my
in a
gosh.
school zone.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Yikes.
crazy.
He didn't mention that kids take
The
the
same
school
goes for-
bus usually to school.
Yeah, there's a school bus.
The school bus will pick them up.
Sports. Over here,
for
kids
free.
can take a 10-minute walk to the nearest sports field or a 3-minute bike ride on calm, safe streets on their own. In the US,
That's
it's
nice.
a 40-minute march through a maze of streets partially along a major transit artery.
Gosh, I mean, look at that. It's not.
In the
wait, wait,
US,
wait,
it's
wait. It's not that far between each other, but the route you have
So
to take.
sneaky.
Yeah, there's no like cut through or anything.
No.
a 40-minute march
'Cause you
through
can't
a
go in
maze of
people's yards.
streets partially along a major
Private
transit
property.
artery. Gotta get in the SUV and let mommy drive you to practice. This is where the
Dang.
term soccer mom originates
Soccer
from. by the way.
mom.
People lament
Got a
today's
Walgreens
children
and a
for
gas
being overly
station,
dependent
too.
on their parents. But in such neighborhoods, children don't have a choice but to be dependent. Otherwise, they cannot go anywhere. They are stuck at home. In contrast, in European suburbs, kids can be let out safely to move around on their own, to go
Much
to
more
places
chill.
they want to, without the need for the mommy
'Cause
and
there's
daddy
less
taxi
cars.
service. Do note that yellow residential building on the left. That is a mid-rise. European suburbs tend to be a mixture of those and single or multi-family homes, like on this street.
Nice.
Zoning in US suburbs only allows for single-family homes,
That's
and they are
so
usually
crazy.
placed very
That does
far
look like a
apart, leading to low
wasteland.
density and long distances. This makes public transportation non-viable. Over here in Europe, hundreds of people live within walking distance of this tram stop. In the US, if you put a tram stop here, you'd have a few dozen people living within walking distance, meaning
Our towns that we live in don't have buses, don't have trains, don't have any any type of public transportation whatsoever.
Do European cities, I don't know if they have suburbs that would be like 10 to 15,000 population, but I wonder if like 10 to 20,000 population cities in Europe still have buses and stuff like that. They gotta.
They
right?
probably do. They probably do. Let us know.
even if you build public transit here, almost nobody would take it, because no matter how you build it, people would be too far away from it. If you're half an hour away on foot from the nearest tram stop, you'll take your car instead, and people do. So giant highways had to be built, rammed right into the city,
highway's
usually
crazy.
demolishing non-white neighborhoods in the process. The end result was mass motorization all across America, constant
Jeez.
traffic jams, noise and pollution, but not for the suburbanites. It was the
I mean, that's how my mom would get to work, like by driving into the city and then taking a bus from there in, which is crazy because she wanted to avoid the traffic, obviously, and driving downtown in cities in the U.S. is crazy. But I mean,
And parking, paying for that stuff.
it'd be nice to just have a bus that just goes all the way.
urban dwellers, particularly those who were poor, who had to live near high-traffic areas in cheap, low-quality housing. The suburbs also became a growth Ponzi scheme, where in traffic
That's a
areas
city
in
skyline
cheap,
city right
low-quality
there.
housing.
Oh, man.
The suburbs also became a growth Ponzi scheme, where income from the suburbs couldn't cover future infrastructure overhauls, so the city had to expand and sell new properties constantly to get enough money to maintain what they already have. Not Just Bikes did a great video about this, link in the description.
The
The
growth
suburbs and
Ponzi
car-centric
scheme.
development were useful political tools in the 1950s to enforce a Christian conservative, white nationalist hierarchy within American society, where white men are on
Interesting.
top, women are at home, fully dependent on their husbands, and where all resources are channeled towards the white middle and upper class in the form of billions in state subsidies. And the rest of society, poor people, non-whites, were left to fend for themselves in decaying urban centers, sucked dry financially by the parasitic suburbs around them. Car-centric planning became a weapon of choice for conservatives in order to maintain the unequal status quo. And this phenomenon isn't unique to America. In Europe, as our cities transition away from cars, the opponents of this change are almost always conservatives. While the incumbent Paris mayor campaigned on eliminating 50,000 parking spaces, her conservative opponent, who looks frankly diabolical even by French standards, wanted to halt decongestion measures. In Prague, a city overrun by cars, conservatives keep screaming about the cyclo-fascists ruining the city after a shadow is painted somewhere.
Cyclo-fascists.
Meanwhile, conservative district
Funny
mayors
from a
are busy turning
conservative.
sidewalks into parking lots. In Madrid, the conservative city leadership cancelled the ultra-low emission zones, leading to local protests to bring them back. In Budapest, we have Orbán's far-right conservatives screaming about how there is a witch hunt against drivers by the new center-left mayor, and complaining how in inner-city Budapest it's almost faster to walk now than to drive.
So right-wingers
even
are just, conservatives are just crazy everywhere. It's all about money, money, money.
They're anti-quality of life.
They're anti anything that takes away money from the oil companies.
Germany, Bavarian conservatives are dumping money into highways while letting the rail network fall into disrepair. As a rule of thumb, in every city with decongestion
stupid.
measures, you'll also find conservatives screaming about the war on cars, the symbol of hierarchy in transportation, where
The
the
war
affluent
on
suburban minority gets to
gas
occupy
cars.
80% of public space inside cities, compared to the more egalitarian space use of public transit and bicycles. God forbid you have to get out of your giant SUV of death and get on a tram with the peasants. Of course, upholding the conservative hierarchy isn't why suburbs are built today in the US. It's mostly just a necessary continuation of the Ponzi scheme that began with the first suburbs. Also, it's due to faulty zoning codes not allowing for mid-rise developments that would actually make more money for the city, increase density, and make public transit viable. In Europe, our suburbs are mixed, with both mid-rises, single and multi-family homes. They're an organic part of the city and contribute fairly to the local budget. There is also subsidized, affordable public transit. All in all, it's more egalitarian. And if the US situation sounds depressing in contrast, as an American, there are things you can do to potentially help change things. If there is a local transit riders union, go join it. Look if there are any initiatives on the ballot
Don't
for
think that
traffic
exists.
calming, bike lanes, etc. Show up to your local town hall meetings and advocate for zoning reform, ending
Good luck.
parking minimums, and so on. If you're persistent enough, your ideas will be heard, and you can help push America back towards sensible, fair,
Where
more
we're from?
egalitarian urban planning, one neighborhood at a time.
I don't think you'd be
That's what I
heard.
would do if I were you. Thank you for watching. Oh, and by
Where we're from is like literally the entire town, all of the politicians, the congressmen, the local politicians, they're all the crazy conservative people that he pointed out in this video.
We're from an area that is typically pretty the opposite of that side. Like the state we're from is like that, but the area, the specific county, is kind of, suburban. So it has those beliefs.
Suburban in the fact that our county elected the craziest congressperson in the whole government. Thanks for watching.